Welcome to Cuba. It's a beautiful country, as you can see by the architecture around me. The streets are alive, it's very vibrant and full of culture. It's beautiful and there's a lot to see. But I think this video would not be accurate if it didn't share that there's two different worlds in Cuba. In Cuba, there's a world for tourists and foreigners, and there's the world for local Cubans. Now let's talk travel to Cuba. So for those of you from many different countries, it's not a problem to come and travel here. But if you're a United States citizen like me, there are currently travel restrictions. American tourists in 2019 have to fall into one of 12 authorized travel categories. All right, at the Miami airport right now, getting ready to check into our flight to Havana, Cuba. And we are going to get checked in at the Cuba Ready kiosk, where we'll also buy a tourist card visa and get our documents checked. You need a travel visa, which we got at the Miami airport, and a legal reason to travel to Cuba. However, the good news is you can travel here legally through support for the local Cuban people. Here's a Via Hero article that I found on traveling under support for the Cuban people. Support for the local Cuban people means that you're supporting local businesses and local Cuban culture. So that means staying at Casa Particulares, which are private rented rooms, oftentimes in the homes of Cuban people. Our Casa Particular even comes with a cute little cat. Meow! And you're eating at paladars, which are private restaurants. You're booking through local guides to see the cities. Here we are with our convertible, vintage convertible. We're going for a little tour, and this is another way to see Cuba and support a local business. Yes, right, here we go, starting our convertible ride. You're talking to business people, supporting artists. And you're visiting farmers, for example. Piggies! We're in Vinales right now. These are tobacco leaves for Cuban cigars. And this is the owner, Luis, of the plantation.
Una foto, contigo.
Cuba has been under communist regime for a while. And that means that the hotels, the restaurants, etc., a lot of businesses are government owned, but you can support local businesses and help with the growing market economy. Fresh fruits and veggies. Support for the Cuban people is a great way to come. Not only is it a legal way to come and travel to Cuba, but also you're putting money directly in the hands of the people who need it. The income divide is really wide, and there's two worlds. There's a world for tourists and foreigners and people who have money, and there's a world for the local people, many of them who don't have access to goods or finance. To help explain the two different worlds that exist in Cuba, I'm going to talk about the two different currencies that exist. CUP, also known as the Peso Nacional. This is what locals use. There's also the CUC, or Peso Convertible. This is what foreigners and tourists use. One CUC is worth a little bit more than $1 in 2019. As you can see, there's a big value difference between CUCs and CUPs. It's 1 CUC to 25 CUPs. To put the cost difference into perspective, a taxi ride to the airport in Havana can cost more than 25 CUCs, which is more than some local Cubans make per month. Okay, got our street food pizza. This was 10 CUPs, which was less than 50 cents. There's a very big difference in price for locals and for tourists. Also in access to food. Locals have their food rationed by the government, so they get a coupon book with allocations for things like rice, beans, and meat. And currently, locals don't even have access to eggs. Eggs. This is a big deal. So we have an egg here, which is a very big deal right now because the food is rationed and there are no eggs for a lot of people right now. Eggs have priority at hotels first for tourists. Apparently, there's not enough eggs right now in Cuba because the chickens are stressed. We've learned that a lot of things are rationed here, and even going in the store, a guard has to open the door. There's only one phone company in Cuba, and that is Itexa, in the line to get Wi-Fi cards. Internet access is limited in Cuba, so people gather at these Wi-Fi hotspots where they can use cards. This one is a 1-hour card to access the internet. So we're eating dinner and there's a big storm and it's completely blacked out. It's crazy to think that less than 24 hours ago, here was where the streets were completely flooded during the tornado that hit Havana last night. Cubans are such friendly people. When you pass by the street, they'll say hola, and people will smile at you, and you can talk to people and make fast friends. We just became friends with our taxi driver, Carlos, who was telling us that he had a daughter named Daniela, so I had brought a dress and gave the dress to him and his daughter. Daniela y Carlos. Yeah? As the sun sets in Cuba and I leave today, I think back on my trip here and what an amazing experience it's been. Though there are two worlds here, it is an incredible country with a lot to see and an amazing culture and people. As a tourist, it's a very safe country to travel to, and there's a lot of history here. A lot of people come for those Instagram-worthy photos of those old buildings and vintage cars, but I've discovered that Cuba is a lot more than that. Though parts of it are still stuck in a bygone era, a lot of it is changing, so come see it now. Hi guys, if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be sharing more videos like this and sharing tips on traveling to Cuba next week in another video. Thanks.